Welcome to the Dark Archive. I'm Mr. Nobody, and today we're going to talk about the Roden family massacre, one of the most disturbing crimes in the history of the United States. In the dead of night in 2016, 8 members of the Roden family were brutally murdered in their homes in Ohio, leaving 3 young children as the only survivors. Initially, the investigation raised suspicions of involvement by drug cartels and criminal organizations, such as the feared Cornbread Mafia. But, as the clues accumulated, an even darker truth revealed itself. Behind the horror, there was a family conflict driven by custody disputes and resentments that culminated in extreme violence. Scriptwriter. The victims were executed at close range, with no chance of defense, in a coordinated and meticulous attack. What seemed to be a massacre linked to drug trafficking and illegal activities, such as cockfighting, ended up being a cold and calculating act masterminded by the Wagner family. At the center of the tragedy was little Sophia, the daughter of Hannah Roden and Jake Wagner, whose tumultuous relationship had begun when Hannah was still a teenager. After a bitter breakup and disagreements over custody of the girl, the Wagner family decided that the only way to resolve the dispute was to eliminate anyone who might question their claim. Screenwriter. Determined to gain full custody of Sophia, the Wagners hatched a diabolical plan. They acquired weapons equipped with silencers, devices to block cell phone signals, and even altered their appearance to avoid being recognized. For weeks, they practiced shooting in isolated locations, planning every detail to ensure they would leave no trace. On the night of the massacre, they acted like ghosts, silent and precise, while the silence of the guard dogs, normally loud and protective, raised suspicions that the killers were known or knew exactly how to act without causing alarm. Screenwriter. After the crime, the Wagner family tried to cover up any trail that could link them to the murder. They buried clues, threw weapons into buckets of cement at the bottom of a lake, and deleted files from their cell phones. For months, they maintained a facade of innocence, mourning with the community and participating in tributes to the victims. But little by little, signs began to appear that something was not right. Some family members mysteriously disappeared, while others displayed suspicious behavior that caught the attention of the authorities. Screenwriter. The investigation, initially focused on gang crimes, changed course when digital clues, such as deleted messages and suspicious phone calls, began to point directly to the Wagners. With the pressure mounting, Jake Wagner, the main executor of the plan, ended up confessing everything, giving details about how they planned and carried out the massacre. His confession was the turning point in unmasking the web of lies and arresting everyone involved, including his mother, Angela Wagner, the manipulative mastermind behind the conspiracy. Screenwriter. Jake's testimony revealed how the Wagner family operated like a family-wide criminal organization, where loyalty was fueled by fear and manipulation. They forged custody documents, created false alibis, and used every detail of their surroundings to ensure that nothing was left to chance. The precision with which they committed the crime demonstrated a frightening degree of planning, challenging the idea that family crimes are always motivated by impulse or outbursts of anger. Screenwriter. Throughout the trial, every gruesome detail of the plan was exposed. The intercepted phone calls, the suspicious conversations, the hidden weapons, and the failed attempts to mislead the police. While some members of the Wagner family received life sentences without the possibility of parole, others, who cooperated with the investigation, had their sentences reduced. But for the Pike County community, the damage was already done. The massacre destroyed not only a family, but all the sense of security that had existed before. Screenwriter. The children who survived the massacre grew up scarred by an indescribable trauma, and the local community lived with fear and distrust for years. This case exposed how family feuds and custody battles can turn into unimaginable tragedies when the desire for control and obsession take over. It also highlighted the crucial role that technology and surveillance play in unmasking such meticulous conspiracies, proving that even in the most intimate and well-planned crimes, there will always be a loose end. Screenwriter. The Roden family massacre remains one of the most shocking and tragic cases in the United States, reminding us that the ties family relationships, when corrupted by greed and resentment, can fuel brutal violence. As we explore these events, we are forced to reflect on the lengths people will go to satisfy their own desires, even at the cost of innocent lives. Ultimately, the story of the Roden family and the Wagners serves as a grim reminder that sometimes the greatest danger comes from where we least expect it, from within our own homes. As the investigation progressed, the Wagner tried to maintain their innocence. But 2 years after being locked up, the pressure finally got to Jake. Under the weight of the silence and the months of imprisonment, he cracked. Jake admitted to everything, confessing to all 23 charges against him. In exchange for the death penalty being taken off the table for him and his family, he agreed to tell everything. Jake revealed chilling details about the murders. He said that he personally pulled the trigger on 5 of the killings, leaving the remaining 3 deaths for his father and brother. Jake also admitted that while his mother didn't take part in the killings, she was deeply involved in the conspiracy, the cover-up, and even the forgery of custody documents to ensure they would get the child. The investigation uncovered key evidence that helped confirm Jake's story. Text messages from the night of the killings aligned with the details he gave about the meeting between Billy Wagner and Chris Roden. Weapons hidden in cement anchors, bullets matching those found in the bodies, and evidence of homemade suppressors were recovered from various locations, including the Wagner's property. They also found remnants of burned-out suppressors in the woods, the same type of suppressors used during the killings. This new information led to major breakthroughs in the case, with the Wagner's now facing serious consequences. Jake's sentencing brought a sense of resolution as he was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole in 32 years. Though this decision was met with mixed reactions, his confession was key to the closure of this chapter. Though his actions remain unforgivable for the families who suffered from this horrific crime. His mother, Angela Wagner, was also sentenced to 30 years in prison for her role in the conspiracy despite not being directly involved in the killings. Her involvement in the plot to murder the Roden family and the subsequent cover-up was central to her conviction. The sentencing hearing was emotionally charged with survivors of the victims calling out the Wagners for their cruelty. Meanwhile, George Wagner IVTH, who had decided to go to trial instead of cooperating, received a harsher sentence, 8 consecutive life terms without the possibility of parole. His refusal to admit guilt and his choice to face a trial made him ineligible for the same considerations that Jake received. The case against the Wagner family is now nearing its final stages with only George Billy Wagner III left to stand trial. His role as the patriarch of the Wagner family makes his trial one of the most anticipated moments in this lengthy and devastating case. Now imagine being one of the surviving children in the Roden family. Growing up and one day learning that nearly your entire family was wiped out in one horrifying night all over a custody dispute. Imagine carrying that truth for the rest of your life. With that weight on your shoulders, you might feel that no punishment could ever truly measure up. And as justice slowly takes shape, with more members of the Wagner family being held accountable, the people of Pike County, and especially the survivors, are left clinging to the hope that this painful chapter is finally coming to an end. But let's talk. What do you think truly sparked law enforcement to zero in on the Wagners? Was it the inconsistencies, the failed alibis, or maybe something they couldn't hide no matter how much they tried? And do you believe the death penalty should have stayed on the table for a crime this brutal? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you've made it this